one of my favorite exercises of the NFL offseason. And it's trying to find out which team that finished in last place can win their division this season. Of course, otherwise known as NFL worst to first, baby. We have 7 teams that we'll discuss because we're not going to be able to cheat. 49ers are not in the conversation. We're going to exclude the 49ers because they're actually favored to win their division despite being in last place last year. So Niners do not count. So PJ, if you had the Niners written down, cross them off. We're not doing 49ers because that's just boring. So we'll pick from 7 of the teams that were in last place a season ago and who could potentially win their division in 2025. So here are the 7 teams, once again, excluding the San Francisco 49ers because they're favorites. So we have the New England Patriots in the AFC East, the Cleveland Browns in the AFC North, the Tennessee Titans in the AFC South, the Las Vegas Raiders in the AFC West, the New York Giants in the NFC East, the Chicago Bears in the NFC North, and the New Orleans Saints in the NFC South. PJ, first word to you. Who will be going from worst to first if you had to bet it this upcoming NFL season?
For me, it'd be pretty easy. If I obviously couldn't take San Francisco because they're favored, I would take the Chicago Bears, Femi. I think that would be the team. That would be the team to take to go worst to first. There are 3 teams I would look at, 2 teams I would actually consider betting, but the top choice would be the Bears. And the reason being, and I know we're getting ready to flip this conversation in a little bit, but I think they have a vulnerable favorite in their division with the Lions that are obviously losing a ton in their coaching staff. Minnesota, a lot of question marks at quarterback with J.J. McCarthy. What's that going to look like? The Packers, I think, are the safest bet in the division. But, Femi, I don't think there's real, upside with the Packers in terms of, that's a team that can win 14, 15 games. I think Detroit, Minnesota, and Chicago, you could convince me that any one of those teams could win 7 or 8 games, or they could win 13 or 14 games. Green Bay, I don't feel that way. I think their window's between 9 and 11 or 12. I think they're going to be somewhere there. I think they're the safest bet. But with Chicago, man, there's just so much boom or bust potential with them. They could win 6, 7 games again this year, or maybe Ben Johnson just unlocks something and they win 12 or 13. Schedule's really difficult, but again, Caleb looked good yesterday. Hopefully can continue that in the regular season. And I'm just a big fan of Ben Johnson as a head coach and as a play caller, and I think the Bears finally have it right. The defense is pretty solid as well. So, that's kind of what I look for. I look at who won the division last year. Are they going to be really, really good again? On paper, Lions roster is terrific, but they're losing a bunch of coaches. They lose Ragnow at center, which I think is a massive deal for Goff in that offense. And then Minnesota's bringing in a new quarterback. Green Bay, I don't think, has the upside of winning 13, 14 games. So it'd be the Bears for me. If I had to bet anybody on the board, it'd be Chicago at plus 550.
That makes sense to me. Obviously, there's a lot of upside with the Chicago Bears. That division is very much condensed there between all 4 of those teams. So it makes a lot of sense. And that's not the team that I went with. I went a little bit crazier than you did with the Chicago Bears. But I think you say Chicago amongst these 7 teams, nobody's going to bat an eye. For me, the one that I'm going to consider actually making this bet because I think there's a viable path to this team winning their division despite being in last place last year. It's the Tennessee Titans for me, PJ. And I say this as somebody who really likes the Houston Texans, but I think if we're just doing the exercise, teams that can go from last place to winning their division, I want to go with a team that made a big-time change at one of the most important positions. Now, you did that with the Chicago Bears making the change from Matt Eberflus to Ben Johnson. That's a massive change. The Tennessee Titans made a massive change going from Will Levis and Mason Rudolph to number 1 overall pick Cam Ward. I'm a big Cam Ward fan. I've been following Cam Ward since he was at Washington State. I didn't watch him at Incarnate Word. I don't think anybody did. But I watched him at Washington State. Obviously, we all watched him last year at the University of Miami where he was a Heisman contender. I think he's awesome. And I actually think that he can be the guy that raises the level of everyone on that Tennessee Titans team. Now, is the head coach a guy that I have trust in? I don't know. All I know is that in his first year, he was saddled with terrible quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph, who's a backup, and Will Levis, who's an even worse backup quarterback. So I don't know what to read when it comes to Brian Callahan. But I do think he has a quarterback in Cam Ward who, like, if you go from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami, you work your ass off. Like, this is a grinder, a dude that's all about ball. He was even telling the media a couple weeks ago, saying, yeah, I just talked to my parents and talked to my dog. like that's what he was saying. Now, like, is that the lifestyle that I would like to live? No. But like, he can tell you that this guy is all about football, and the roster around him, I think, is further along than people think. It just looked terrible because they had a horrendous quarterback last year. Just look at week 1, Titans at the Bears, and you want to see how a quarterback can cost you a football game? Watch Will Levis in that game, and you'll be reminded about how a guy can blow a game for you. But like, the wide receiver room, is it great? No, but it's at least, like, I don't know, average. I mean, Calvin Ridley's okay. Tyler Lockett on the back 9 of his career, but, you know, can be a little bit productive. Like, Alec Iomaner, like, they seem to be really high on him. He's been getting a lot of run in the preseason. I do like Tony Pollard in the backfield. Tyjae Spears, if he can get healthy. I like that 1-2 punch. The offensive line, I think, can be good this year. They have the best offensive line in the division for my money when you compare it to Houston, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville. Like, I like that Tennessee Titans offensive line. And defensively, this is the real kicker here. Their defensive front, I think, is legitimately good. Tavondre Sweat was awesome last year as a rookie. Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best defensive interior linemen in the National Football League. Got a couple of decent edge rushers. I like this Tennessee Titans team. I just think they needed the right quarterback to elevate everybody else and to really get this thing humming along. This team was horrendous. Worst in NFL history against the spread last year. I actually think that there's a path at plus 775 that Tennessee is your AFC South winner. I don't think too many people would pick the Titans. I like the Titans because I like Cam Ward quite a bit, and I think that this team has quantum leap written all over it.
I like it. I mean, I told you there were 3 teams that I would maybe consider. Obviously gave out the Bears. The Titans were another one of those teams. But Femi, you just said you like to target teams that have made a major change at one of the key positions, right? Quarterback, head coach. Why not a team that made a change at both of those? What about our Las Vegas Raiders?
Oh, no.
What about
PJ,
our Raiders?
Come on now.
Do we get crazy?
PJ.
Do we get crazy? Do we get nuts? Mahomes who? Andy Reid who? I don't know. Do we get crazy on the Raiders? We both think they could be a sneaky playoff team, but just how nuts do we get with Vegas? I don't think they end up winning the division. I actually think an AFC West exacta might be a good call, Femi. Like, I don't hate the idea of Kansas City, Vegas, Denver, LA, something like that. But look, this is obviously the first time in a long time Kansas City's been this low of a favorite going into a regular season, and everybody expects either Denver or the Chargers to be that team to knock them off. Both of those teams are plus 310. I mean, why couldn't it be the Raiders at 17-1? The Raiders, it feels like, always play Kansas City tough. And can I tell you what I don't like about Denver, Femi? The schedule makers did the Broncos so dirty when it came to the games against the Chiefs this year. Their 2 matchups against Kansas City are off of the Chiefs bye week. We know Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes don't lose off bye weeks. And then the second matchup is on Christmas night, short week at Kansas City. So, I mean, that's just 2 awful spots for Denver. The Chargers, I don't think they'll get there. I'll never trust Herbert against Mahomes in a big spot and the Slater injury. So, look, it's 17-1 for a reason. I'm not saying, but as we're playing this exercise, I think the Bears and the Titans would be the smart money. If you're looking for another team, I would maybe entertain Vegas just because love what they did this offseason, like you as well. And, I mean, they always play Kansas City tough, Femi. So if you want to get crazy, maybe Vegas would be a team to look at.